Integrated tactical planning. Well, joining us today to speak about that, David Goddard, principal at Oliver Wight. David, it is so good to see you again. Welcome.
Thanks, Russell. Pleasure.
David, I guess a threshold question for many people is why in the world would I want or need integrated tactical planning process in my operation? Well, what would you tell them?
Fair question. And I think today many companies, given some of the supply chain challenges, have kind of come up with an integrated tactical planning process on their own. However, the Oliver Wight companies came up with a robust sort of left foot, right foot implementation methodology to help them identify challenges in supply chain, but also identify challenges where they have surprises with their customers or some difficulty introducing new products. So integrated tactical planning talks about the execution side of those three disciplines. And that's what we're seeing people come to us for.
Now, it occurs to me that somebody might be a little confused as to what integrated tactical planning or ITP actually means. So let's describe that process. What does it do? What does it encompass? And so walk us through that.
Yeah, great question. So we've turned some siloed processes like sales execution. Great, it's a best practice. It talks about here's how actual orders are developing versus what we anticipated in our demand plan, and then what levers can we do to control that. Whereas on the master scheduling side or supply execution, we've got our own sort of siloed approach to what we can do to expedite on the shop floor or with suppliers. And so now ITP comes along and integrates them to say, hey, let's not have siloed execution processes. Let's have conversations over the next 13 weeks. And 13 weeks is a standard that we've found. Even if you have a lead time of 2 years or 2 days, this 13-week rolling horizon fits really well with many companies. And being able to describe, okay, that forecast is not developing as we thought it was. What can we do on the supply side? What are we trying to do on the commercial side? Before we go canceling supply, actually, we found another customer as an example. So really to get that integration across that 13-week horizon.
That also sounds like that's highly developed, or detailed in 13 weeks. They really get a good picture of the benefits that they're going to derive. And so that leads to my next question. If I am a prospective customer, what are you telling me about what I'm going to get out of this? What are the benefits of ITP for me?
Yeah, great. Oliver Wight, we've been big fans of sales and operations planning, integrated business planning, executive processes. But the ITP, to your point, is detailed, gets down to the part number, and has very specific discussions around part numbers, quantities, due dates, and how we can satisfy customers. So when we run into a supply chain challenge, now we're working to not only sell around it, but what we can do to borrow from other families sort of in that trading time zone of the planning process. So customers are finding that they're getting savings on inventory. They're reducing obsolescence. We've found some great opportunities like logistics, either interplant or inbound or outbound logistics, where these folks have been blindsided for years with, oh, I didn't know you were making that now, and I wish I could have taken advantage of rail, but now that you have made a smaller quantity, I got to go LTL, that kind of stuff. So the benefits are some of the classics in obsolescence and inventory, but then there's some ancillary benefits where all of a sudden some other groups are getting involved and saying, oh, having a 13-week visibility is something we've never had before.
All right, so you have reduced my inventory. You have enhanced and optimized my logistics scenario, which is to say that you've optimized my logistics spend. So you're saving me money, and I'm happy about this. My question to you is implementation time and tools that are going to be needed. So walk me through that. What do I have to make this this really sanguine picture that you paint for me happen?
Yeah, fair. And tools are pretty simplistic because actually most ERP systems have part numbers and due dates and customer orders and stuff. The key, though, is to not burden the process because it is a weekly process that you have to prepare for. And in the early days, some of our clients were trying to use PowerPoint decks, but there's a development process in itself what we've seen most folks go to is like Power BI, where they're pulling out dashboards right from their ERP systems and talking about where are we pacing for customer orders, what does customer service know, what are we doing for slotting in some of the new products that we're getting ready to launch. And so having a 1 or 2 page sort of dashboard has been about the best practice we've seen coming out of like a Power BI type.
So I'm getting real-time actionable information is what you're telling me.
True, but it's a weekly process. So we are taking a pause based on the developments since the last week, but it would be real time for sure.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Now here's the question I'm sure that some potential customers, viewers of the video, are asking themselves. I want to know more specifically what Oliver Wight is all about, what the company does, and just give me an example. What are you doing for your customer base to optimize their operations? Give us a sample.
Yeah, so as you know, Oliver Wight's over 50-year-old company. We've been in the education space for the majority of our 50 years. And so there are new folks coming into organizations, new divisions being developed that say, okay, now I need to follow a best practice. And we're there either with public or private education. But we've also developed what we call the proven path, which is a left foot, right foot to implementation. Many companies have an implementation process, and we've got one that we've been working on for almost 50 years because it didn't come into existence right when we started. And we're out watching what clients are doing that is successful, and then waiting to make sure it's going to be a proven process, and then we launch it as an education initially, and then we'll help out with the implementation.
Well, it's a compelling picture that you paint here, I must say. David, I thank you so much for speaking with us about this. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you, Russell.
That's David Goddard, Oliver Wight, speaking with us today about integrated tactical planning, something you may want to look into. Thanks for watching.